You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAC Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about Black empowerment. Our show focuses on Black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now, your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Today's show I look forward to doing today. By the way, I'm your host, Goku, and I have a special guest today. We're going to be talking about filmmaking, Black filmmakers, and what it takes to be a Black filmmaker, etc. Before I get into what it takes to be a Black filmmaker and whatnot, I want to remind everyone that we still need bloggers and vloggers over on the Bitter Medicine podcast site, www.bittermedicineblogs.com. We need people who could write about current events. Also, we have our GoFundMe that we want to close down in mid-June. We're trying to raise $2,000 to improve the quality of the podcast, to improve the reach of the podcast, and just to improve how we record, how we edit, etc. Those types of things for the podcast. And lastly, I just want to do my free business shout out once again. I haven't received a whole bunch of business news from you guys. I've been stressing this every week, but the free business shout out once again goes to Stephanie Renee's Salon, located at 1614 West Main Street in Kalamazoo, Michigan, zip code 49006. You can reach Stephanie Renee's Salon as it's located inside Cali Beauty at 269-343-4007. That's 269-343-4007. They use natural hair care products, and they are located within Cali Beauty. Make sure to support them if you're in the area. So, today's show is all about filmmaking. It's about having Black filmmakers, having Black representation on screen, telling our stories in a positive light. And when I was preparing for this podcast with my special guest today, I thought about one Mr. Oscar Micheaux. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Oscar Micheaux, but Oscar Micheaux was an African-American filmmaker out of Chicago, born around 1884. His movies challenged racial segregation, provided an outlet for Black moviegoers. He wrote, produced, directed 40-plus films between 1918 and 1948 with all Black casts. So don't let people fool you about Black Panther. He had all Black casts. In the 1920s, he did a movie called Within Our Gates, which was a response to the vile and racist Birth of a Nation movie back in the 1920s that gave prominence to the KKK, by the way. And some say he's the inspiration for the Oscar Award. That I haven't verified yet, but I've heard that several times now. And I want to play this little clip from MSNBC. Funny enough, MSNBC kind of gave him a little homage. So listen to this clip from MSNBC.
Time, as it is at the end of the show, for our favorite part of it, and that is Monumental Americans, honoring someone who may be deserving of more recognition. And today it's Oscar Micheaux, the first major African-American filmmaker. Micheaux was born in Illinois in 1884. He worked for restaurants, stockyards, steel mills, shoe shine stands, and railroads as a young man. Then he moved to South Dakota as a homesteader and began writing novels and films. In 1913, Micheaux published his first novel, which was adapted into his first film, The Homesteader. in 1919. Until his death in 1951, Micheaux wrote, directed, and produced more than 44 films, all dealing with racial injustice. We're showing one of those films right now, Within Our Gates, about an African-American woman who goes to the North to raise money for poor black children in the Deep South. This that you're looking at is the oldest known surviving film made by an African-American director. All right.
So there you have it. That's Oscar Micheaux. And that is MSNBC having given him, that filmmaker, some credit and giving him some notoriety there in that brief piece. And guys like Oscar Micheaux inspired Spike Lee and several other black filmmakers, and I'm sure Oscar Micheaux has inspired in some form or fashion our next guest, who's also a burgeoning black filmmaker. I want to introduce to you Mr. Gunnar Dessources. Gunnar Dessources, are you on the line?
Yes. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Thank you. Full disclosure, I've known Gunnar now really 20 years. I knew him from college days and undergrad, and it's been interesting to see you change things up as far as, you originally were a psychology major and you went back to school to do film. In fact, before we talk, let me read off Gunnar's quick bio. Gunnar Dessources is from Haiti, Port-au-Prince. He came to the United States in 1991, was raised in Brooklyn, New York, attended Midwood High School, double majored in psychology and film studies, for which he got his degree in 2003, then returned in 2013 to get a film production degree. Currently, Gunnar is in an MFA program at St. Francis College here in New York. Gunnar, you just recently debuted your film, The Raging Elephant, correct?
Yes.
Before we get into The Raging Element itself, tell me a little bit about what you think about representation in terms of filmmaking, positive images, and black empowerment.
See, the thing about me, I'm a filmmaker, but I'm a socially conscious, black power-minded person from the beginning. So, to me, bringing those two together is important for the survival of black images, black male image, black female image, and our culture as a whole. So when I was younger, I was always into reading because my father used to make me read a lot of books. So I used to read a lot of I don't know if you know Nancy Drew,
of course,
the Hardy Boys.
Yeah,
but those books were not reflecting my culture at all.
Right.
So, but I used to love reading. So even when I got into high school, I read. But what the teacher was reading, I was reading were like Mice and Men, the story of Anne. What's her name? The little Jewish girl that
Anne Frank.
Anne Frank. I read most of the books that I read were by white authors. And I think the only first book that I read that was by a black author was The Bluest Eyes by Toni Morrison.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her book. So even in our curriculum, most of the teachers are not giving us books that were written by us. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or by people who have the best interest of our image, because image is everything. Because I know Malcolm X said, once they make you look like a savage, it's easier for them to murder you.
Yeah.
So once they take your image and just destroy it through music, through film, and film is I think film is a very, what's the word? Like film, I think propaganda in film is more important than education.
Yes.
Because even Einstein said your imagination is better. To have a great imagination is better than knowledge. So when as a black male, black woman, you don't control your own image, that's horrible. That's bad for you as a race.
Yeah.
So growing up, I was reading all these white authors, and it was about, and I loved it. Even when I was younger, my dad used to, but I don't know if you know those, you know how they used to have the stories, the Walt Disney stories on the records?
Yeah.
That my dad used to buy them and used to play them for me. So even as a kid, I was always into creative writing or even being imagination and stuff like that. So I think it's very important that Black people have a say on their image, control their image, control their story, tell their own story. It's like, even if like a great story, if you don't tell your image, if you don't tell your own story, you cannot rely on somebody else telling your oppressor telling your own story and making you look good.
Yeah.
It happens from time to time, like some stories from time to time, but most of the time they're not going to give you the full truth about how you should be. I don't know if I'm saying it right. So. No. Can you actually? I kind of forgot the rest of the question you had asked, but
so. I mean, the question was essentially just really Black empowerment and Black representation in film. You know, what were your thoughts on that? In fact,
I'm gonna give you this. Like in film school, right? So I'm sitting in film school and I'm seeing Black people, a lot of my cohorts, they telling movies, but all their movies are about. They have white characters. Right. So most of the movies, I'm not going to say some of the movies were, but I'm sitting there and thinking, I'm like, how can you tell Black people have so much story, so much drama that happened to them throughout the years, and why are you not telling your own story? Mm-hmm. So even one of my homeboys, I'm not going to mention his name, but I worked on his film, and his film was about his movie was about a Caucasian guy who becomes a serial killer, and he was killing. And I'm like, how does that help us? Yeah. So I'm a very advocate of your talent helping us. If your talent is not helping us, I don't care about it. That's me. I can't sound rough. Like, let's say you're a talented musician, right? Because you play music, right? I do. You're all of that. So if you're very talented, but your music is about something that, how is that beneficial to us? So, like the question you asked, I said all of our talent should be used to free us mentally, free us from the chains or from the oppression. If you're not using your talent to free us, it's a waste of time. It's a waste. That's a wasted talent to me.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
So, a lot, even in film school, like, I don't know if it's the deep propaganda that I think a lot of my cohorts were afraid to do Black films because they don't want to look generic, like, you know, those hood movies, or whatever.
Juice.
But a lot of they were afraid to tell their own stories, and I find also like a lot of Black Americans, their stories is limited to, they don't reach back into the fairy tales of Black culture. They don't reach back into the proverbs. They don't reach back like that, from what I've seen. Mm-hmm. So, but I think if you don't go there, you can't free yourself and you can't know who you are 100% without going back to these stories. So I feel like, and it's like, who could I use as it's like Spike Lee. Spike Lee was one of my favorites, but I think he lost touch with us. Like, Do the Right Thing is one of my favorite movies that he has. What's that other movie? Not even School Days. Like, a lot of the directors now, they're not telling like authentic Black stories. I don't know, stories that deal with our folklores, like the voodoo gods, like Shango, Bata. Like, we have so much. How come nobody's tapping into that? That's my thing.
So, I know you're a believer in Sankofa. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, you mean like Sankofa reaching back? So when I was younger, and I'm going to use this for I feel that my parents, and the way I don't know if it's their focus or due to the hustle and bustle of America, I was robbed of those stories. Like in Haiti, they got something called, I don't know in your country, like Buki and Timalis. Buki is two characters.
Buki
it's a knucklehead.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same thing, but they call it Timalis. So it's two guys. One he's a naive, and there's the smart one that takes advantage of everything. So when I was younger, they used to tell you this story, and as I came to America, my parents stopped telling me these stories.
Right.
You understand? And as an old man, I just feel it's so hard to go back and trying to reach back and learn these stories. It's like in Haiti, they tell you click clack. That's like something that's how they start a story, or Tim Boishes. And I feel, and I know African Americans have that. Like, how did we lose that?
Right.
Because like we're a very oral tradition, and you know how Black people could tell a story. Even in their language, it's poetic. Like even the proverbs we speak about is poetic. So it's like I feel that especially Caribbean people, we don't really have our story put on the screen like Caribbean people, and at least not in America or whatever. So I think it's very important that we have to take control of our image. If we don't, they're gonna keep murdering our image. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for those who don't know what Sankofa is a West African indica symbol represented by a bird with his head turned backwards, taking an egg off.
Reaching for the egg.
Right. And it basically means that we return and retrieve what was taken from us, what has been lost, and try to preserve it and make it grow, right?
Yes. And then one of the things that with the Sankofa is that, like, as I'm being creative, I'm watching in the internet. I'm going back. I'm learning stuff. I'm learning about the African gods. I'm learning about Asra, Aset, like about Heru. So, in a way, my creativity is helping me gain knowledge. If you understand what I'm saying, even though I'm writing fiction or whatever, but I'm going back and I'm like, oh, Shango is equal to this, like Oshun and Yemoya, and the Haitian voodoo culture, Ezili could be equal to Oshun or Yemoya, or Ogu is equal to Ogun. So you understand, Dambala could be equal to who? Or Batala maybe? So this is the funny thing, as I'm researching, as I'm being creative, I'm reaching back into to my own culture, and I'm learning myself.
Right.
So we always have to look, especially our culture, who reveres the ancestors. That's Sankofa right there. When you sit down and you want to pray and you want to have a conversation with your great grandfather, that's Sankofa.
Yes, it is.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So as we've lost that, we've lost Sankofa, and it's like now, if it's not new, it's trash.
Yeah.
That's old. Like, no, there's nothing beautiful than sitting down. I wish I like sitting down and listening to your grandfather tell you a story, even though you know it's fake. Like, maybe I'm just a child at heart. Like, I wish I could just go speak to an older person and soak up their story, even though I know it's not true or it's a legendary tale. But there's something like about my imagination that loves that. And I think a lot of us, due to the hustle and bustle of this capitalist society, which is not conducive to who we are as a people, I just think we lost that, man. Sankofa is very powerful. I was watching this video. It was in the 1950s, right? They showed you Nigerian people dancing, right? I don't know if I shared that with you. They're dancing on their heads. They're doing break dances in the 1940s. And then, little do we know, in the 1980s, guess who's coming with break dancing? Us.
Right.
So that's I guess nothing is new under the sun.
Right.
Like, we as a people, we keep remaking, and we have to get our image back. And that's the number one. And I think for a while, a lot of us Spike Lee was doing it. Who else? Who was it? Spike Lee, Saint Mike's, John Singleton.
Yeah.
One of them, great director. Even though he fell off, I haven't seen him put anything out. And this is the thing. Even James Singleton did the Fast and the Furious. I don't consider that a black I don't consider that our story. You understand?
Right.
Like the Fast and the Furious is not our story, even though it's a black man direct. It's like what's the movie we were just talking about? It's like if we go to the Black Panther. What I like about Black Panther is the ancestor thing. The ancestor that we're not powerful unless we speak to the ancestors. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
That's Sankofa.
Right.
That's one of my even though I have my issues with Black Panther, but that part right there, that's Sankofa.
So
one of the okay.
We'll talk about Black Panther a little bit later.
No, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, absolutely, the veneration of the saints. That's something that we always did, and we've lost it. We've gone away from it. And a lot of that has to do with religion. Religion has really decimated the psyche of black people. But speaking of the psyche of black people, when I first knew you in undergrad 20 years ago, you were a psychology major. How did psychology prepare you in terms of promoting imagery that will penetrate the minds of black people?
See, when I did it, and this is the funny thing, I decided to go inside. I was jumping from major to major, trying to find out who the hell you are. It's crazy, but I figured majoring with psychology and film, it should have been film production, but I did some studies. It's like the more you understand people, you understand what makes people tick, the better you could write a better character. You understand what I'm saying? So, because that's how we as black people, we're very fragmented. We are in dire need of therapy.
Exactly.
So, black people are in dire need of therapy. And psychology, if you go through psychology, you could understand why certain people act a certain way. Why? But the thing with black people, we don't know why we act a certain way. We just acting. So my thing, somebody's only hurt people. Black people are hurt. They don't know why they're hurt. And they refuse to admit that they're hurt. So when you write a character, like if I write a character, to understand, and I don't think that people, this society, understand or cares about the psychology or what black people go through, even black people themselves. So in order to introduce black people and get into their psyche, I have this, I don't want to say gift, but I could feel people's pain, and it hurts me a lot. There's this lady, Octavia Butler, right?
Yep. I
read her book. And Octavia Butler, one of her books, she said these two super beings created this creature, and the creature, which was human, could feel people's pain. And they feel the pain so much that they committed suicide. They couldn't deal with it, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes that's how I feel sometimes. I walk around, I see black people, and I see them overreacting. I see them fighting in the street. I see them pushing each other around, and I know they're hurt, but they don't realize they're hurt. So that's where I get my characters from. So I see, especially the black boy, the black masculinity is so fragmented, but they don't know why they're acting like this.
Right.
So when I take a character, because I'm all about, when you take a character and you say, why is he doing this? Why is he acting like this? I don't think this society cares why a black boy just punched somebody in the face or shot somebody for a pair of sneakers. To them, that's just savagery. Right. But in my film, I want people, I want us to understand why we made that move. Because I want us to understand why did he punch this guy in the face and kept beating him just for a chain.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like I feel that as a people, through fiction, we could admit to ourselves why we're so fragmented. And I think until we understand why we are fragmented and are willing to admit that we're fragmented, then we could move forward. So when I write, it's really for us. Like, when we talk about my movie, but I'm going to say this, like, if I showed my movie and the mainstream say that shit was shit, I don't care what they say.
Right.
It's me and you. I don't care what they say.
Right.
I'm trying to use the movie to show to this young black man or this sister, yo, this is what's going on with us. How can we fix that?
Beautiful. What we'll do right now is we'll take a quick station break. And on the other side, we're going to talk about the raging elephant. So hold on one second.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAC Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the Pro-Black Perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions.
Peace, Seeker. This is Oni from the Pro-Black Perspective, and we need power. Power will not be handed to us. We need to build power. But in order to build power, we need a power blueprint. You need to study the best blueprints available. You have Garbage. You have Wilson's. You have Williams. You have mine. Now, you'll have Cooks. Carlos A. Cooks was Garvey's best student. The greatest mind in the world from 1940 to 1966. Yes, the greatest. Yet Whitey doesn't want you to read his blueprint. Cook's blueprint isn't religious. Cook's isn't for integration. Cook's isn't for communism. Cook's isn't even for anti-blacks. Cook's blueprint is for Africa. And Cook's blueprint is the unknown blueprint that was the basis of black power as we know it today. When you say buy black, you're talking about Cooks. When you say black is beautiful, you're talking about Cooks. When you say Malcolm got something right, you're talking about Cooks. But Cook's blueprint was wrong. And Whitey is hiding that blueprint behind $1,000 paywall. He's hiding solutions from you, telling you you need to take out a small loan to get the information that can liberate you. Whitey does not want you to have solutions to your problems, but you need solutions. You need power. I will give you the Carlos A. Cooks Reader, valued over $1,000 at a 98% discount of $15. Send $15 to cash.me/$ABSONI with the subject Carlos and your email address, and I'll send you the ebook. We need power. You need blueprints. Start building today.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAC Radio.
So we're back. I'm here today speaking to Gunnar Dessources, a filmmaker and a friend of mine. I've known him since my undergrad college days, and he recently had a premiere of his film, The Raging Elephant. But before, we were talking about his background, and we were talking about Oscar Micheaux, a black filmmaker who was born in 1884, and who was the inspiration for many black filmmakers over the years, and including Spike Lee. And I think a guy like Oscar Micheaux creates a kind of discipleship where you have followers a long time who inspire others. And I think Spike Lee is an inspiration to my current guest, Gunnar. Gunnar, your film, The Raging Elephant, I thought was excellent. And I'm not saying that because I've known you for all this time, but I really was...
No, I know.
The checks...
You would have told me if it was trash.
Yeah, if it was garbage, I would tell you that. But
yeah.
But no, I thought it was excellent. I always find it interesting when... This is just a personal thing. I find it interesting when an everyday person, and I know filmmakers and people who are on TV, I know they're everyday people too, but I always find it interesting when an everyday person does something that's the caliber of what we see on television or what we see on, in media and stuff like that. So to know someone who learned this craft just within the last few years and was able to put out something that stands up shoulder to shoulder with others, I applaud you for that. And our mutual friend Biggs, who was with me, he came with me to the premiere. He thought it was a good film as well. He was proud of you as well. So I want to talk about The Raging Elephant. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say thank you, man. And this is, believe it or not, everybody that's speaking, every conversation that we have on the campus about everything we speak, all these things go through my mind when I was writing this movie. So I do appreciate it. That's all I wanted to do was like, I want to put something that's like, this is a great piece of thing. It's a conversational piece, and it hits the heart. You understand what I'm saying? So I appreciate that coming from you and Biggs. That was awesome, man. So
the one critique I have of the film, you know what that is? The one negative critique of the film is it didn't have enough of me in it, to be honest. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, but we'll work on that for the next one, right?
Next one.
All right. So the film is called The Raging Elephant. And the synopsis of the film goes as such. Negus Peralte and Nehunda Winnie Kandake are a typical African-American loving couple who live and love NYC. They enjoy every facet of NYC without really paying attention to the ugly side of Brooklyn. Until one day, at a house party, with neighbors call 911, due to loud hip-hop music, two rogue police officers enter the house and get into a confrontation with the partygoers. They aggressively manhandle a young lady. When Nehunda tried to defuse the situation, she is brutally accosted. When Gene tried to intervene, he also gets assaulted and arrested. When the judicial system let his abusers go free and are now preparing to arrest him, Gene decided to avenge this gross injustice. By any means necessary, Gene Negus will get his vengeance. Tell us a little bit about your film, Gunnar.
So, at first, when I wanted to write this movie, there was a lot of black people getting shot by the police. Like they were getting shot left to right, and as you know, hey, they walk away. Police walk away.
Yeah.
So, like, I wanted to write something to express what every masculine man feel, black men feel, like as a boy or as a man, feel what they want to do, but they can't do, because once you do it, there's no turning back. So the first thing I wanted to say, the name of the movie was the Black Jacobin. I don't know if you ever read a book called The Black Jacobin. It was about the Haitian Revolution, right? That was my original name for the movie. It was called The Black Jacobin. But then I made a research about why did they call this book The Black Jacobin. So then I saw that the Black Jacobins, first of all, the Jacobins were a group of leftist group that used to be in France that started the French Revolution. So they were like a leftist group, a leftist terrorist group that was about free power to the people. So then I was really disturbed. But why this author named this book The Black Jacobin? Are you telling me that those Haitian fighters were imitating this French group? I felt a little weird about this. I was like, no. So then I changed the name to The Raging Elephant. So in some African cultures, the elephant, so African culture, I forget which, but they said elephants used to be human in the life prior, right?
Okay.
And then elephants hold grudges. They never forget.
Yes.
So if you take an elephant in 2018, when they see you in 2028, there's going to be some problem.
Yeah.
So I figure in my book, The Raging Elephant is like this anger that's been heating up, boiling up inside black men and women for centuries, and then have no way of letting it out. So my main character, Gene Negus, is like, the typical, he's a pre-med. His girlfriend just graduated and became a nurse. I'm telling you the backstory of the characters.
Yeah.
So she became a nurse. She finished school before him. Actually, they met in Ghana. That's the backstory. They met in Ghana at a study abroad and everything. So, the typical black people who tell you, oh, nah, this can't happen to me. If you didn't do this, this would have never happened.
Yes.
So then I put them. So Gene Negus and Nehunda were those type of people until it happens to them. So when it happens to them, it's like they're shocked. They don't know. Gene Negus was about to be pre-med, going to school. How could this happen to him? When it happens to Pookie and to Tyrone in the hood, people are like, I understand that maybe they did something.
Right.
But if it happens to a pre-med student who loves music, who's a DJ and all of that, who has a lot of friends from different races, it's like it's shock. It's a shock. So my two characters comes from that cloth. Gene Negus, when I created the character, his mother is the sister of Thomas Sankara, and Thomas Sankara, as we know, and that's the Sankofa I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm calling their names. So Thomas Sankara is one of the most, I have so much love for this guy. This guy was so progressive. I don't understand how people, more of us don't know about him. He used to be the leader of Burkina Faso, which means the lands of upward men, right?
Yeah.
This guy, so that's his legacy. So my character comes from fighters. You understand what I'm saying? His mother, in her own right, was a revolutionary with her brother. So on the father's side, his father was part of a leftist group that was trying to overthrow Papa Doc, another horrible dictator in Haiti. So when you combine these together, this is you get that revolution inside of you through DNA.
Right.
So even though it doesn't manifest itself, but when you meet the situation that calls for it, it's going to come out regardless, because you know why? Your parents are like that. And your parents, they show it to you, to their music to listen to the type of book they read, to the type of news they watch. Without knowing, as a kid, you are downloading these messages, right? So that's Gene Negus. That's Gene Negus. That's him. And Nehunda, in her own right, well, I don't go into too much on Nehunda's character background, but she's a nurse. She's Nigerian. She's Yoruba. So in her own right, she's a revolutionary. Because as you watch the movie, she's reading a book. I don't know if you've seen the book. It's called The Book of Night Woman. If anybody's listening to this, you need to read The Book of Night Woman. It's by Marlon James. It's this Jamaican writer. This book is all of that. So throughout the movie, as you see, she's reading this book, right? But people don't know why she's reading the book. She's reading the book, and the book is about a group of women in Jamaica that took 30 years 30 to 40 years to plan a rebellion. So even in my character, like Gene Negus, that's what the thing. Women and men are different, right? Men are sprinters. So my character Gene, it's burning him right now. So what he's gonna do? He's gonna kidnap. We're gonna do this bang bang, and we're gonna go and avenge this wrongful crime.
Right.
For her, she's more like, I have a baby on the way. Maybe there's another way to handle this.
Right.
But at the same time, she's reading books. So it's like the feminine energy versus the masculine energy.
Right.
So what's the best thing to do now? Go out and get the revenge, but then at the same time, you might destroy us all, or let's find another way. Or this is what I was trying to do in the movie. What's the right way? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and even in the movie, you see, I introduced the gods. And the funny thing in the movie, when you see the movie, you see those two gods from the motherland, which is the ancestral gods.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to use the gods from my culture, Haiti.
Right.
But that's another story. The actors freaking I couldn't use that. So that was I wanted to bridge the ancestor, the old world God with the new world God and stuff like that. So go ahead. I'm gonna keep talking, but if you want to interject and ask questions, so it'll be better.
No, well, I wanted you to speak on the film and speak on the things that, you really wanted to I guess impact the viewer. Because one of the things I don't want to do is I don't want to give away the film, but I want you to give enough. I want you to give enough that brings about interest in the film. When people hear you speak about Sankara, when people hear you speak about the ancestral gods, when people hear you speak about the fact that we carry revolution in our DNA, and in fact, some of us do carry cowardice in our DNA as well.
Oh, of course.
But when you talk about that, when you talk about the book that she's reading, I want people to want to see this film, and later on we're going to talk about how folks can see this film in the near future. But I don't want you to go any further with the details of the film. I want people to want to really go and check this out.
Yeah.
Okay? What I want to pivot to is I want to ask you about the filmmaker and filmmaking process. Okay?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I wanted to know, as I was watching the film, several questions came to mind. I want to know, what's harder? Is it getting started or being able to keep going?
You know what? I think getting started is harder. Getting started is harder. Is actually to sit down and write, because everything starts with the pen. Yeah. Right? To sit down and write and create a whole environment, to create a whole world. Because my characters are in their own world, but to create that whole world and to have the confidence and like, I'm gonna write this, I'm gonna write that, and to believe in your own writing, I think that's the hardest. Getting started is the hardest. But if you get started, you gain confidence. Oh, I wrote this, or this sounds good. I write this, and then the more and more you start being confident in what you're writing and the message that you want to send, then it's a snowball. Like nothing could stop you. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So I'll give you an example. Like when I wrote the script, right? I wrote the script and I had a couple of people read it.
I was one of them. Yeah.
So people tell me, "Oh, I don't like this. I listen to this. How you feel?" And I incorporate that and go back to the lab and I write it down. Right. But now after you finish writing, now the thing is you have to get the funding. That's one of the major part that I see that is one of the major parts that I fear myself Like, and then you brought up Oscar Micheaux, and I'm sitting there, and you playing this, and I'm like, how did Oscar Micheaux do this?
Right.
And 19 what? And we can't do this now.
Yeah.
Where we have all these little cameras, everything is digital. It's not now the shooting on film is obsolete now. Only the super pretentious, the big names who got the money who usually shoot it. But now we all could do it. Why aren't we doing it? You understand? And I was just sitting there, how did Oscar Micheaux do it? So then my thing is, I went back, I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to school. And the way I'm gonna shoot this, I could have started a GoFundMe, but I didn't do that. You know what? I went and got the loans. So to the loans, this is how I funded this movie, which I know I'm gonna have to pay back. But again, I gotta do an investment on me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had to fund this. I got some loans. I used that, and I paid, and I shot the movie, and I financed the movie myself. So, but there's other ways to do that, crowdfunding and stuff like that, which is good. Which is if you don't meet, I heard that if you don't meet your budget, they take half of that. Is that true?
I'm not sure.
And so my homegirl told me she did that and she didn't reach who was it? Not GoFundMe. There was another thing. They took half of that because he didn't reach the goal.
Oh, Kickstarter.
They didn't. If you don't reach it, they keep some of the money or most of the money or something like that. I don't know why. But getting started is harder. To get the crew, to get people who believe in you, to get people who want to work on the film. And this is one of the hardest things I could see. Getting people who believe in your message is the key.
Yeah. Because
you could get anybody to work on your film. If they don't believe in the message, they're not going to give you that extra hour. Like the extra hour meaning that, I got 3 more shots to go, but it's late. Are you going to stay with me and do it?
Yeah.
So if you have that person in your corner, then everything is great. And I'm gonna tell you this, I don't even want to bash our own people. I sit there and talking to you. I don't even know how I shot the film. But what you just said, what you told me, what's harder to get started or keep going? But when I kept going, and everything fell into place. I'll give you an example. You see the guy in the movie when he kind of got the actor that they were when they were fighting in the store.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was not even supposed to play that character. One guy called when I'm shooting on the first day of shoot. One actor calls me and said, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't want to do this. I don't like the way it's because I was having issue with my producer. My producer was not doing what she was supposed to do. So he's like, I don't want to be in this. I don't want to be in that. I'm like, and I asked him, how long you felt this? He said 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks. He's been feeling like, and I'm like, so why didn't you tell me? He's like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't be on it. So I'm like, all right, fine. So I'm just standing there. I'm just I'm at home. How I'm going to do it? So now I have to rearrange the whole movie. You see those 2 characters, the with the blue and the red?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those 2 characters were one character. So I had to split that one character into 2 people. Right? So when he said he couldn't do it, so now that other character, I had to move another person on his spot. And then the character that's in the movie fighting in the store, I had to find somebody. So that as I'm in Manhattan searching, buying stuff for wardrobe, clothing, and set decoration, I see that guy out of nowhere, and I'm like, Charles, do you want to do this? He's like, yeah, sure. So I'm seeing this. I kept going. I didn't stop. I kept going and for some reason, the universe, it happened. So that's what I'm saying. That getting started could be harder because you have to write down. You have to get the funding. Then you have to get the right people around you. And the part is, and which as a film student, when you're not paying people, they could just flake on you the same day. Or I'm not showing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, which is what happened to me. I looked like 4 actors in one day. 4 actors didn't show up. And I'm like, what? Because of an issue with somebody. So I'm just saying that getting started is harder, but once you're rolling, and sometimes you take the story to a place that you never thought the story was gonna go, and this is what I got from it. All of this is what I got from all the mishap and the filmmaking and making my film. So yeah,
that sounds to me like at times inspiration can kind of wane. And I know you just talked about the external help that you received, but when inspiration was waning, when you felt creatively sapped, for example, what did you do? Like personally, what did you do mentally, especially with your psychology background? What did you do, and how did you stay fresh?
Sometimes you just got to walk away from the writing, son. You just got to put it down. Sometimes I was just stuck. Like, I'm giving you an example right now. I'm doing my MFA program, right? Yeah. It's like a distance program where I write and I send it to the teacher, right?
Okay.
They told me I have to send 30 pages. I'm speaking to you right now. I haven't sent 30 pages, right?
Okay.
Because I'm trying to write, but it's not coming. I'm trying to write what's in my head, but I can't get it down to the paper. And you know what? Sometimes I just walk the F away. I just put it. And you know what sometimes happens, though? Because I'm still thinking about it as I'm taking the train, the idea comes. Like, out of nowhere, the idea comes. And I'm like, oh, smack. And then I'm like, okay, I go back. So sometimes when I'm writing, and if I get stuck, meaning stuck over what the character should do or what the character shouldn't do, I just stop. And I could be working out. But it's always in my mind. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
My brain is always working towards solving that issue. So it comes, oh, and I'm like, boom, I got it. And then I go back. And then this is something, even in my MFA program, like I feel like, and this could be me, it's like, you can't rush creativity. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be pretentious, It's like Lauryn Hill, for example. I understood Lauryn Hill now when she says, I don't do album because I don't have the urge to do it.
Right.
So Lauryn Hill, I respect her because her album, her music is about freeing us or about changing our image in front of, not even in front of the world, but in front of us.
Yeah.
So when you don't have that urge, why should I be writing?
Yeah.
So to tell you that sometimes, it's like, I know you do music, and sometimes I'm amazed how you guys create notes out of thin air. I don't understand it. I'm like, how? What? But then I realize it's just like me when I'm writing a story.
Yeah.
So me, like, there's a time when I just walk away and then come back. And when it hits me, it hits me. And this is one thing I was thinking, and I don't know if I'm just trying to be more spiritual. And I'm like, you know what? The ancestors are going to send it to me. That's what I say now. It's bugging my mind right now. I can't get it. But the ancestors are going to send it to me. And sometimes as I'm walking or I'm on the train of driving, listening to this music or seeing these people walking down the street, I'm like, bam, this is it. So that's how I deal with it sometimes with the blockage and of writing and of creating a world that I don't know or that I'm about to discover or something like that.
Well, that's the same way. That's pretty much the same process that I go through when I'm writing songs as well, or trying to figure out where to take the music as well. You get frustrated over it, but then you leave it to the ancestors, and you let the ancestors speak that life into you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But you guys are crazy, though. You write a whole story in like 3 stanzas. Like, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That is short.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you do that?
And I could be a wordy guy. I could talk. So it's hard for me to keep it down.
But that's talent, though.
So, yeah. Well,
that's extreme talent, though. It's like, what's that, those poetries it's called, where it's like a small, it's called haiku, something. It's like a short stanza.
Yeah.
Yeah, haiku. Like, I don't know how people do that.
Yeah, that's not my cup of tea either. It's too short. I don't have enough time to express myself in 5 words, 5 sentences, something like that. So
yeah, but it's like go ahead.
No. Continue.
No, I'm just amazed at even like when I look at musicians, like when you're playing the drum, you're playing the guitar. It's like, it amazes me how I don't understand how you come up with these notes. But then they look at me, I was speaking to somebody, but how do you come up with stories?
Right.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
So it's amazing. And in my mind, I'm like, this is what, the other day I was thinking, why am I writing? What if there was no oppression? What if there was none? Why would I be writing? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So everything I do, like, I don't ever want to write a story that has nothing to do with us.
Right. Right.
So go ahead.
So you talked about taking out the loans and stuff, and that kind of feeds into my next question. How much do you think commerce affects your art, or how much do you have to compromise as a filmmaker because of financial restrictions or the business side of things?
This is the thing. I'm gonna say this. Sometimes when you don't have a lot of money, you become motherfucking creative. I'm sorry for cursing, but your creativity steps in. This is one thing I'm gonna say. Like, once you might not have the big budget. For example, like, you remember the scene when they were partying? You remember that scene, Paul?
Yeah.
I was meant to shoot that in a whole, like, it was supposed to be beautiful, but it didn't happen that way. But it forced my creativity. Go sit down and create something. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you don't have that budget, and it's not that I didn't have the budget, it's that something happened, that I couldn't do it, but it was all with the budget.
Right.
It's like budget and time.
Right.
When you short on time and budget, your creativity, if you love your craft, like, and also if you love your craft, if you're not 300% down with what you're doing, you could just be like, but if you love your craft, your creativity is going to create something that came out of nowhere. So budget could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. Like, if you don't have, a gift and a curse. If you have the budget, you could go all out and do what you want. But if you don't have the budget, it brings you closer to that core, to that hardcore. It makes you create because you want to tell your story. So you're going to find every which way to tell that story the way you would want it to speak it when you had the budget. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and we see it all the time. We see these big budget movies that are just fucking garbage. By the way, you can curse on this show, motherfucker.
My bad.
But we see these big budget films that are just garbage, and you wonder to yourself, what was all this money spent for? It's just, there's nothing to it. The story is garbage. The effects, the visuals is crap. So I definitely see where you're coming from, where budget could be the gift or the curse. Meanwhile, you'll see some small budget films, these indie films that are just beautifully done and the story holds up. You know what I mean?
Because you know what, there's more soul into making that. Right. There's more soul. The people who want to work with you are going to stay there till the sun comes up and sun comes down to get you that, because they know they don't have the budget. But it's like, I'm writing the script, right? Before one of my scripts, it says, creativity got to beat money. Creativity, talent got to beat money. And that's what happens in those indie films. It's like Get Out. Get Out was like for 1.5. How much was the budget? Was it like $5 million or something?
It was small. It was maybe 3 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but you see what came out of that?
Yeah.
So now let's go to one of Tyler Perry got 20 mil to make Acrimony. What?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to pick on Tyler Perry, but Tyler Perry's movies are not black movies. If you understand, are not Sankofa.
Talk about it.
Tyler Perry's movies are just soap operas. Soap opera. Like, if you take those black people out of it, you could put white characters, and it's gonna be the same thing. If you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
And in his movies, I think Black Perry murders the black male character in a lot of his movies.
Absolutely.
The black male image, he murders it.
Yeah.
The last movie, Acrimony, like, dude, we understand that our people goes through that issue. That's women and men issues. But why are you making the black, that last movie, I didn't see it, but I sort of, why are you creating this rift you create the rift between black men and black women, but you don't bring it back together, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
So, Tyler Perry doesn't tell black movies. His movies are not Sankofa. You know which movie was Sankofa? Remember Love Jones?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But you see, that guy never made a movie after that?
Really?
Do me a favor. When you finish, look and see if that director ever made a movie. Like, ever. He shot maybe some TV shows, but he never made a movie after that movie. Love Jones is one of my favorite So, in Love Jones, you get the soap opera, right? You get the soap opera. He was doing this, she was doing this, or whatever. But you felt the jazz. You felt the culture of black Americans in there. The music, the poetry. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I feel that budget. So,
I just quickly looked it up. The guy who directed Love Jones was named Theodore Witcher, and his Love Jones was 1997. His last film was Body Count in 1998.
You see what I'm saying?
Damn.
So that movie was one of the best movies of I love Love Jones. Wow. Even there was soap opera, but in his movie there was poetry. He spoke about Oshun. There was the jazz. Yeah. There was the in that movie.
Yeah.
He didn't make movies no more.
That's crazy.
So the thing with the budget. He who gives you the money
makes the
to
rules.
make the film controls because Hollywood is it's about money. I'm not going to give you, especially with black people, I'm not going to give you 30 million. I don't know if I'm going to make 60 million.
Right.
And so the budget, but they'll give you money to write buffoonery about, because Tyler Perry keeps making money. They give him 20 million, he doubles it. So he's going to keep just that alone. That's going to keep, that's going to keep people giving you money. But he who gives you the money controls it. Absolutely. Only the big stars, like what's his name, Scorsese, only the big name directors get to be like, this and that and that. And even then, the final cut doesn't belong to them.
True. The studio decides length of time.
Yeah, the studio decides.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why sometimes they release
director's cut
and stuff like that. Because whoever picked I was working on Power, right?
Okay.
I'm working on Power, and then on Power at the time, out of all these people, I think there was 2 black directors out of 10 episodes. I'm just saying, but I don't remember. But even when you get there as a director, they already have everything planned for you. You just come with your shot list and you give it to the people. The story is already made. You're not there to be like, I want to do this, I want to do that. It's already there for you. You shoot this, this is a story, bang, bang, bang. It's like, you don't get to be extra creative because it's already made for you right there. So I think, when I use my student loan I'll give you a perfect example. My movie's like 15 minutes, right? The Brooklyn College Festival, when I wanted to shoot, they said, the movie's too long, da-da-da-da-da. And my mind, I was like, you cannot tell me to cut my movie because you did not give me the money to shoot the movie.
True.
So, and this is what I think, and this is the next movie that I want to make, the people got to fund it. I'm willing. They got to fund me.
Yeah.
Because anybody who funds me, it's about capital. And if you're willing to fund me, you got to know that you might not get your, it's not an investment. You know how I'm investing to get money back? Because a lot of movies don't make the money back.
Right.
So I think as a black people, we should be investing in our, especially in people like me and you, who put our culture, our ancestors, our social, our social being first. we have to fund those stories because they're not gonna give you, because you know what they're gonna say? Who's gonna go see that movie? Because you know, like, Caucasian people don't really want to see us on the screen, you know.
Unless we
don't mind. Yeah, they don't really want to see. Like they can't identify with us, but every day they make us identify with them on the screen.
Every day, yep.
Every day, every movie you go see. I saw Infinity Wars like the other day, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this black people. Like, how easy is it for me? I could identify with this guy, but they could never identify with me.
Right.
On the screen.
Right.
So the funding. Back to the funding question. Getting funding is awesome. But when you don't have the funding, is also awesome because it makes you grind. It makes you grind, and you probably write the best story when you're under budget. And also, one of the most powerful things to have is if you have a good producer to direct where your funding goes. Because I was doing this one, like, even though in the film school, when you're basically funding your own movie, you're basically your own producer. But those two young ladies, Arilyn and Medea, I tell you, without them, I don't know how I shot this. So funding is very important, and the story that we need to tell. And I don't mean telling stories about a black boy. Like, what's the latest movies now? Like black. There's a movie coming out called Superfly. Remember the black exploitation movie?
Yeah.
There's a Superfly too. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's from Atlanta. That's not Sankofa.
Right.
That is just sex, and that's what they relegate our characters to now.
Yes, absolutely.
The black man's image is about sex, not loving the more black women he fucked, the better. It's about drugs, money, and flashing.
Yeah.
And the Superfly 2 is coming out.
Damn.
That is not Sankofa. That is not our story.
Yeah.
So there's which other movie? There's one of my favorite movies, It was a director. He used to be in competition with Spike Lee. Oh, what the fuck? Have you seen Inkwell?
Inkwell? I believe I did see it, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was an old movie. It wasn't, another great story. It might not have been Sankofa in the sense that I'm saying, but it was a story of a young man, a black boy coming of age story. Beautifully story told. They don't tell these stories anymore. What's one like you watch The Wood?
Yeah.
Like, I like that story. Like, so many, that I could say that could be a black story. But I think a lot of the black movies that are coming out, they're not Sankofa to me, if you want to use that word. And I think another first to tell Sankofa stories, like about Timalis, Buki from Haiti, and I know there's from the Bahamas. We have so much stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have so much stories. It's ridiculous. There's so much drama in black people's lives. We have stories, but you know what? People don't want to tell those stories. Even us. I feel we're like, what's his name? Shannon? What's it, Shannon? Friend Shannon or Friend? He wrote The Wretched of the... Yeah. He had a book called Black People, White Mask. Is that the book?
Blackface, White Mask. Yeah.
I feel a lot of us, we are so busy. We are so trying to get validation from white Hollywood per se, or from Hollywood, the mainstream, that we don't want to tell our story. So we tell story about other people.
Oh, yeah.
So just like my boy, he told a story about a white guy being a serial killer. What are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
All the story that's going on in here. So budgeting, I think funding, but now I think it's easier but you know what's sad though? I gotta tell you, if I write a story about, let's say, about Obatawa, let's say my character Obatawa is coming to New York, and black people, are they gonna fund that?
Probably,
are they gonna fund that?
Probably not.
But if I write a story about a guy who became a rapper. He was robbing drug dealers, selling. Everybody want to see that.
Absolutely. That would be an underground classic.
So this is like certain movie that people like. I'm gonna bring a movie which you might not agree with me. A lot of people like New Jack City. I don't like that movie, bro. Like people say New Jack City was what? That was the destruction of the black male character right there.
Yeah, I've watched that maybe 1.5 times, and I was done with that. And that was back over 20 years ago.
So if and people say that's one of the cult, that was a cult movie. No.
Yeah.
To me, not to take anything away from my man Wesley Snipes, which is a tremendous actor.
Yeah.
But that movie is another movie that people like that I think is too much for me. That I don't. Menace to Society.
Yeah.
Even though Menace to Society, the rawness of it's like, this is the thing I didn't like about Menace to Society. Even though the violence was real, but I didn't sympathize with them.
Right.
It's like I didn't understand. To me, they were just killing people just because killing was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't understand. You didn't show the pain. Why? What's his name? The guy with the braids was killing people like that. Why?
Yeah. And by the way, that book is Black Skin, White Mask by Frantz Fanon. Let's take a quick station ID break, and on the other side, we'll continue the conversation.
All right, cool.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAC Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the pro-black perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions.
Peace, Seeker. This is Oni from the pro-black perspective, and we need power. Power will not be handed to us. We need to build power. But in order to build power, we need a power blueprint. You need to study the best blueprints available. You have Garbage. You have Wilson's. You have Williams. You have mine. Now, you'll have Cooks. Carlos A. Cooks was Garvey's best student. The greatest mind in the world from 1940 to 1966. Yes, the greatest. Yet Whitey doesn't want you to read his blueprint. Cook's blueprint isn't religious. Cook's isn't for integration. Cook's isn't for communism. Cook's isn't even for anti-blacks. Cook's blueprint is for Africa. And Cook's blueprint is the unknown blueprint that was the basis of black power as we know it today. When you say buy black, you're talking about Cooks. When you say black is beautiful, you're talking about Cooks. When you say Malcolm got something right, you're talking about Cooks. But Cook's blueprint was lost, and Whitey is hiding that blueprint behind $1,000 paywall. He's hiding solutions from you, telling you you need to take out a small loan to get the information that can liberate you. Whitey does not want you to have solutions to your problems, but you need solutions. You need power. I will give you the Carlos A. Cooks reader, valued over $1,000 at a 98% discount, $15. Send $15 to cash.me/$ABS only with the subject Carlos and your email address, and I'll send you the ebook. We need power. You need blueprints. Start building today.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAC Radio.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. I am joined today by a college friend of mine who recently released his directorial debut film called The Raging Elephant. And we're here now discussing, in the previous segment, we spoke about parts of the film. I don't want to give it all away. I want you guys to check it out. But now we've been talking, I've been asking Gunnar about, different aspects of being a black filmmaker. And my next question to you, Gunnar, is I'm sure you've interacted with more experienced filmmakers and lesser experienced filmmakers. In your opinion, what is the one mistake you notice most filmmakers make, regardless of their experience?
The most, I think, it's the networking and getting your crew. You understand? Getting a crew that's going to support you 100%.
And is this true of black and white filmmakers or just black filmmakers?
I think it goes for both. It goes for both, especially when you don't have the money to do when you're under budget level, when you're struggling. I think one of the major things that we don't do, even me, even though when I was in undergrad doing I helped out a lot of people. Now with the hope that they're going to help me back, because that doesn't mean it's reciprocated. But if I help you, maybe you be like, yo, I'm going to help this. And that's why I think kind of helped me shoot this movie when I was going through my issues. So I think one of the number one problem that faces young filmmakers to say when it's the networking, having your home base crew that will be like, yo, we're going to get this shot. We're going to get it no matter what. Mm-hmm. So that's one of even when I meet people here at Brooklyn College, I tell them, yo, do some networking, start early, because you know what? And this is another problem with this is that people in the film business, people are very cliquish.
Right.
If they don't like you,
that's it.
My man, that's it for you. Because it passes around. Like, and there's the thing, if you go on a person's film and you mess up on some beat, you did it on purpose, you're done. So it's all about networking and turning in other people's movies and owning up to your mistakes. So, and it's about also and then a lot of things that people tell me, even when I was in Power, I worked in Iron Fist, it's how you treat people. Because you could be good, you could be great, but if you're an asshole, you're done. So a lot of things is the thing is, what's the word? Know how to play politics, which I don't know how to do. And that's my issue too. Playing politics with people who you don't like, who ain't shit, but you want to use them, knowing how to play that politics and playing politics with people who you like. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's politics. So it's all politics. Number one thing, and this is what they used to tell me too. Like, if you're a beginner filmmaker, right, you should get with a cinematographer that's advanced. The cinematographer, I'm not trying to play people, but people who don't know, the cinematographer is the person who shoots the movie. Right. Like the person who's behind the camera. Okay. And you have to get with an advanced cinematographer, because that advanced cinematographer knows about lighting. Because lighting is so crucial. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So if you're a beginner filmmaker, get somebody who knows about lighting, who's better than you at shooting, being behind the camera. Because sometimes if you have a great cinematographer, you could just kick back, because they're gonna tell you this shot doesn't work, this shot works, this shot. But if you're just beginning and you have a trash cinematographer, you're done.
I see.
The other thing, which is important, which a lot of us, it's sound. Like sound, the person that records your movie. Yeah. If you don't pay anybody else as a film student or as a beginner with a tight budget, if you don't pay anybody else, you got to pay the sound person, because nothing is gonna throw you off of being like, you watch a movie. If the sound is off, you're gonna tune out. So a lot of people at the beginning be like, it's the sound. The sound is very, very important. You know, and being open to criticism, not taking things personally, you know, and stuff like that. So, a lot of not to take things personally, and having somebody who you could go to humble you.
Right.
Like, yo, this is not working.
Right.
Yo, this part is trash. And you not being like, bring somebody who'd be like, yo, this thing is not working, bro. And knowing, and also I think knowing when it's time to call it quit, like, this is not going to happen. This shot cannot happen. So I got to scrap this. And not being afraid. Go ahead, bro.
That takes me into my next question. When do you know when your story's finished? Like, when do you know when to walk away?
Like what like, okay, when do you know when to walk away? Like, this thing is not going to happen? Or when do you walk away, you know what? I did my thing, and this is good.
Well, both. Speak on both.
So I'm going to speak on that when you need to walk away, when the scene is not working, right? This is what somebody told me. Which even in my movie, they say, yo, if you want a scene to be in the movie so bad, and you're fighting with your cinematographer, and you're fighting with your script supervisor, nah, this got to be in there. One question you got to ask yourself, if you take that scene out, does the movie work? If it works, you got to toss it out.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So knowing when to, sometimes also knowing when to let everybody do their job. You're a director, stay in your director's place. You're a cinematographer, don't try to do other people's job. If you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
So if somebody's a set decorator and you're a director and you hired them, let them do their job. I'm not saying you can be like, no, I don't like this, but don't be own them. Oh no, I want this like this, because they could give you something that you never saw coming, and which is the best part of filmmaking, because they see it away, you see it away. Don't be a dictator. Always be open and let people. You hire those people as a student. Just trust them that they're gonna. That's what I'm saying. Your crew is important. If you trust those people, if the people believe in your dream, then you gotta let them do their work. So learning to walk away is just like, yo, this scene is not working. Or are you gonna jeopardize that shot for the whole movie?
Right.
What's more important,
right.
This part or the whole? That's what I would say. What's more important? Can you tell that story without that part?
And when do you know? And when do you know when you're complete? When you've done your thing?
Yo.
Or do you
honestly,
ever know?
This is the thing. Do you watch the movie? You notice I couldn't watch the movie with y'all.
Right.
I had to walk.
Right.
So, because as I watched the movie, I know what I wanted to do that I didn't get to do.
Right.
So sometimes this is how I think you have to do it. You have to trust the audience. When the audience shows you, yo, this is what I like. This is. You may not like it yourself, but if your audience got the point where you were coming from, or the message you were trying to send, then I think you're good. Even though you might look at it and be like, damn, I didn't want to do that. Because, which scene? Can I give you so there was a part in the movie where when I watch like certain scenes, I wanted to have more close-up shot of the people so people could identify and sympathize or even empathize. And I couldn't do that in some of the shots because the way the schedule was, I couldn't do that. So when I watch it, I'm like, damn, I could have done this, I could have done that. But when I see you guys watch it and the question is like, you guys barely noticed it.
True.
So what you got, if you're happy with it and you got my message, what I was trying to say, even if you didn't, I'll give you an example. You ever saw the movie, you see the movie Juice, right?
Yeah.
Juice, for example, I don't like watching Juice. You know why I don't like watching Juice? Because that Tupac character is a piece of shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
He played that character so well that I hate that character that I don't even want to watch the movie. But you know what? That's the part. The movie did its job. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, as a director, you may not like certain stuff when you're watching. Oh, I could have done this, but if you could make your audience flinch and be like, yo, I hate this character. Why? Because I would never want to be Bishop's friend in real life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, Bishop, Bishop is an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Every sense of the word. So, I don't like watching it. I don't watch that movie because of that, but I know that's why I know the director did a good job because it invoked that emotion out of me. So to piggyback on what you said, no, when I just sometimes I don't. If I did, even when I moved, I see so much more I could have put in there. But I put it out there, and I did a couple of tests before I showed it. I showed it to some people. They're like, yeah. So the image that I was trying to, if it came out roughly, I'm happy with it, you know. But you never, I could say, I don't know for most people. Like I know some of my friends in film school. Every time they see that movie, they're like, oh, I could have done this. I could have fine tuned this and that and the third. But if the audience receives the message, like, what more can you do? And sometimes, even in my movie, and it's another gem that people tell me that I don't abide by a lot of the time. Sometimes too much is too much. Too much is not good. Less is better. Sometimes cut the film, just walk away. Walk away. That's for that question is just like, when do you know it's good? As a filmmaker, I don't think I will ever know when it's like 100% because you will never get it exactly the way you want it. But sometimes what you wanted to come out doesn't come out, but it makes it better. It's like when I tell my actors, like sometimes they tell you, don't ever direct those actors that I have, but I'm just saying that, like, they said, don't tell your actor, be happy. You got to be happy. Because no, you got to let the actor express happiness the way he wants to, and it's going to come out. Because a lot of directors, do this, smile this way, you smile. No, you can't do that. So, that question is, if the message is out, then I guess you're happy. And sometimes you just got to leave it and walk away. Because the more you play with it, the more you could destroy it.
Yeah, you see the same thing. You see the same thing even in making music. I mean, or like making an album project like me and an old group I had years ago did. Well, anytime I happen to listen to that album again, I always feel, oh man, I could have done so much more here and there. So I definitely feel where you're coming from. But I wanted to ask you another question. I wanted to double back like Sankofa. Mm-hmm. I wanted to go back. I always tell people on this show that we are genetically hardwired for certain things. And so when you talk about reaching back, when you're talking about Sankofa and reaching back and retrieving what was taken and stuff like that, you often hear people talk about the lack of original stories in the world. Now, we know that the African diaspora hasn't had a lot of its original stories told. Only slavery has been told. But in your case, for your film, how did you manage to stay fresh in the face of an idea like the one that you had? Because the idea that you had is stories that we have lived and we have seen in our community. But how were you able to make it fresh, like appear fresh on the screen?
And the way I made it fresh is because, I've never seen people speak about the abuser taking revenge on the police force, right?
Yeah.
I never saw that.
Right.
Especially on the like short filmmaking. I don't know if I've seen it on the big screen, but it's mostly revenge because of like gang. Oh, I'm an armed robber. I do this. But what I want to say is that I think Hollywood has been saturated with the same story they keep recycling.
Yeah.
They haven't tapped into the African, Caribbean, African Native American, South Brazilian. I don't think they have tapped into that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they want to, because if they know what's going to happen. But this is the thing. My thing, I've never seen in our culture that they mix the gods, the African gods, the Caribbean gods, the Cuban, the Hispanic gods. I've never seen it. So I'm like, I'm going to tell a story, but I'm going to incorporate my culture in it. It could be the same story. Like, for example, we could say, what story that's been told over and over? It's like, no, the story, have you seen Heat back in the days? So you could take Heat and take those white actors and put black actors. It's the same story. But if you take that, right, and you put it to the Caribbean, you'd say one of the characters prays to La Santa Maria or prays to Esley, or the guy before he goes to rob banks, he bathes with a leaf. It's a different story. It's the same story, but it's covered by culture.
Yeah, that makes it fresh too.
That makes it fresh because it's never been done.
Yeah.
So it's like Hollywood is becoming saturated, and then that's why I think they go so hard with the Marvel stories or stuff like that. The Marvel superhero and all. Most of the movies we've seen these stories before.
Yeah.
It's like recycle. It's like they recycle the same story over and over with different scenarios, but it's the same story. Boy meets girl, boy cheats on girl, boy gets back with girl. How many times can you tell that story? But if you tell that story, Haitian boy from Haiti travels, gets on a boat to come to America, loses his girlfriend, and then meets a Jamaican girl on the shore. It's different cultures, Haitian music, Jamaican music. I think the way you keep it fresh, which is you infuse the culture, the music, Sankofa, the story, you introduce the ancestors into the new story.
Yeah.
We cannot afford to leave the ancestors out of our story.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what makes it fresh. Because all the stories, like, there was a movie that 50 Cent was just in. Like, it was about robbing banks and stuff like that. We've seen that story before.
We've seen that numerous times. Yep.
So, and it's also about, like, I want to tell you about this other, but I don't want to put it out there. But when I see you, I'll tell you about it. It's like I have a story about bank robbers, right? But the way they're robbing the banks I've never seen it. It's different. And I think a lot of us as black people, we have those stories, but is Hollywood willing to tap in there?
No.
And this is the thing, people say it's all about money. Yes, it's all about money and stuff like that. But the money are they willing to put the money behind you and to create your own story? So we have to fund ourselves. We have so much. Have you seen the movie? You know Stone? He's like a Jamaican. He's a Jamaican director. He did Better Must Come. Have you seen Better Must Come?
No, I didn't see Better Must Come.
Yeah, so Better Must Come is maybe 6 years old or something. But the movie is like about the political faction that was going on in Jamaica. I forgot the two groups and stuff like that.
In the 70s, yeah.
But in the 70s. So it's like we've never seen that in the screen as Caribbean people. So we have so much stuff, so much stories, so much fresh story that we have that I don't know why Hollywood doesn't want to tap into it, but I'm not waiting for them to tap into it.
Yeah.
We can tap into that. With all the social media we have, we could just rent out a school and project the movie.
Absolutely.
And people pay to see it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think Hollywood is becoming too saturated. It's like they tell the same stories over and over and over. So we have to, as a people, we have to fund our own story.
So,
and that's the thing.
So, before I ask you about the cast, I I want to ask you about, since you're a filmmaker officially now, I want to ask you about why do you think there's so few black women filmmakers, who at least make a name for themselves? Like, I could only think of maybe two. Like, why are there so few? Why do you think, based on your experience, why do you think there's so few?
You know what it is? And my in my film class, there's a pretty decent black women. I'm gonna say one. Her name is Allegra. Allegra wrote a freaking beautiful science fiction story, and like the way she did it, like she's a wonderful. The movie was beautiful. So what I think it is, and she made it. It was like a black story. It was black characters. Like, I don't know. One day I'm gonna ask her for a thing, and I'm gonna send it to you so you can watch it. It was a black story, a black science fiction story at that. So they have them, but you know what I think it is? I don't think I think there's a lot of black female filmmakers, but they're not shooting Sankofa stories.
Right.
If you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're shooting just stories that you would be like, oh, a white person could have directed that.
Right.
So, and I think Hollywood is making a way for them now, because like, isn't DuVernay like?
She's doing a DC film coming up, right?
Yeah, that's what they said. But her last movie was I don't know, but The Wrinkle in Time, Oprah. I don't know.
Right. I think that flopped, didn't it?
Oh, did it flop? Did it? So, DuVernay is making a name for herself. Like, she's in the forefront of everything or whatever. Even when I was working on Power, there was a couple. The black director, I saw she was a female and stuff like that. But I think this is the thing: they're not making stories that we didn't see every day. They're not making different stories, and that's why they cannot be highlighted, because they're just making the same stories as everybody else.
Right.
They're not tapping into the ancestor stories. They're not tapping. That's what I was just telling you before. It's like they don't want their stories to be labeled, oh, that's a black story. So I think there's a lot of them, and even in my I think there's a lot of them. Maybe they're not being spotlighted because they're just telling the same stories as everybody's telling.
Well, you tell Allegra. I'd like to see her film. Being a scientist myself, I'd like to see her film, and I'd like to have her on the podcast to discuss not only her film, but her presence as a female, as a black woman filmmaker.
And I have another guy. He came to see my movie too. He has a story, and I helped him in the story, which I acted in there. Like, he's from Trinidad, and he wrote a story about characters, and they were Haitian. And my friend said, like, yo, you want to go help this guy? I said, his story it's a Haitian story. My word, what's his name? McMillan. I'm like, that's not a fucking Haitian name. Who is this guy? I get on the set. The guy is from Trinidad. And the story was about a black father who's trying to reconnect with his wife and daughter and trying to make it work, and something goes wrong and blows it out of proportion, but he's still fighting to maintain the family together. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful story, and it's Sankofa. So even him, and it's like I was shocked. I was like, I've never seen what? Who wants to tell a Haitian story and they're not Haitian? I've never seen it.
True.
So, but he used the Haitian story. It was like a Haitian diaspora story. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That means we come from the Caribbean and we get caught up in the same bullshit too. We become the Black Americans. We get caught up in there too. So, but back to the female, and that's a very hard question. Like, offhand, I can't really say female like a female that stands out. Maybe I watch their movies, but I don't know if it's a female that was behind it. That's what I'm gonna say.
That's a good point.
But I'm gonna say I think one of the reasons might be that They're just creating generic stories.
Right.
Generic stories, it's the same thing. They're not creating revolution. They'll be like, oh, let me spotlight this story, and then we see, oh, it's a black female. They have them out there, though. They have them, son. Trust and believe they are being, especially black female, they are shooting, but I don't know why they're not highlighted. I think the only one that's really highlighted right is Duvernay.
Right.
And I saw Selma. Selma was okay. I'm not gonna take anything from her, but you know, she's cool.
Okay.
But she's the only one that's being highlighted now. So
to pivot from that question about black women filmmakers, let's talk about your cast in the film. I thought your actress, or I guess actor, female actor, who played the character Nehunda Winnie Kandake, I thought she was brilliant in the film. I thought she was subtle, but I thought she got across the character that she was playing. Tell me a little bit about her, but also the cast overall. What are your feelings about her in the cast?
So her name is Maya Posey. She's, oh my God, yo. So let me say this. So I'm doing casting calls, and my producer at the time, I get there, yo. She set up. She put the description of the character who we're looking for. But when I'm getting it, I'm getting women that do not fit my character. So I got a lot of a couple of Caucasian women, a couple of Hispanic women, and then I didn't get any sisters. Yo, I'm sitting here, I'm tight. I'm asking her, why didn't you do that? She said, well, you have to do it like this so you can get more people to come, right? But in my mind, I'm like, well, no, I'm asking for my female is black. She has to be black. So I come out the room and I see Maya. Yo, gorgeous, beautiful, afro. Her skin is radiant. She's chocolate. I'm like, yes. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, just because she's beautiful, that doesn't mean she could act. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
So she gets there, she reads the line, and I'm like, okay, pretty good. But my producer at the time tells me that she has an accent. You know I'm Caribbean. Sometimes I don't pick up on those accents because I have an accent myself.
Right.
She goes, well, she has a southern accent, and she's from, and when I asked her, she's like, I'm from Alabama. And I'm like, damn, that's going to be tough, portraying somebody in New York City with a southern accent. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, and especially a Nigerian person descent from, then I started thinking, so what? People come from the diaspora, live in different places in America, and that doesn't mean she could have moved here. So I made it work because she embodied the character. So with Maya, one of the main issues, it wasn't even the main issue. I told her, what she said when he was at the movie, she felt that, she wasn't getting calls back because people they were not writing anything for black people. And this is what I want to write. I want to write for us, for like when she said that, I was so she never told me that. So when she said that, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Right.
So Maya came, and she came on, I almost lost her. We were doing some rehearsal, and she came, and you know me with my Haitian time, I was late, and she left. And then she told me, I was like, I wasn't going to come. I was like, but she came back the next week. They were, what's the word? They were professional. Maya was professional. She came back. Everything I asked her, she did. And this is the funny thing. When I give them this is what I do with my actors and actresses. I let them read. I tell them, this is what I want from the character. This is what I envision the character to do. And then they go at it. So I don't tell them, no, I need you to do this, do that. I let them develop the character. And when I see them going somewhere where I don't like, I'm like, that's not exactly what I was going for, but this is what, and they come back and they bring some new thing to me. And I'm like, okay, let's rock. Because I don't tell my actors, I'm not a dictator. Do this, do that, do that. I give them the background of the character, I let them read it, and I kind of guide them. This is what I want, and this is what, and I think that gives me the best result. So even with the sex scene, I was not even in the room shooting that. Like, so because I didn't. And one thing I don't want to objectify the sisters because we've been doing that so much. I didn't want to do that to her or whatever. And this was a low budget, fairly low budget because I'm not rich. So to rich people, I had to spend a lot of money, but to rich people, my budget was trash. Right. So I had to be able to make that sex scene, not to make it where I was exploiting her, but also make people see the pain in that whole scene. So she was a trooper. I told her about it. She read it, and she did it. And she didn't fight me, and I also didn't put her in any situation where I would, compromise her womanhood or disrespect her as a person, because I didn't want to do that to my actress. And that's what you got on the screen. And even the subtleness that a lot of people don't know. She doesn't, like, I think most of her acting is in her subtleness, like her facial expressions and stuff like that. Because sometimes she didn't have a lot of lines, but with her facial and her movement, she expressed exactly what I wanted. Yeah.
And for the listeners, there is a sex scene, but you gotta see it. It's a very important part of the film, and it garnered a lot of discussion during the question and answer part of the film. Now, I'm not going to talk about that scene because I really want people to go and see it and be impacted by it themselves, but it's a very interesting scene, and the actress, the female actor who's in that scene, she does a real good job of portraying, I think, what the message of that scene was meant to be. Gunnar, speak about your lead actor now.
My lead actor, Moses. And there was a time when I worked at Lincoln High School. I was an advocate counselor, and he used to come in and out of my. He was not part of maybe he was part of the club. I don't remember, but he was just such a cool student, and he used to come out. I interacted with him a lot of times. So when they didn't renew the contract, that's when I came back to school, and I started thinking about writing the script. And I was like, you know what? And this is the thing about Moses. His features are so African, right? Right. And to me, they're wonderful. I don't want to. He exudes black male masculinity, like he exudes alpha male to me. So, and that's what the world is afraid of the alpha male who's alpha physically and alpha mentally, right? They're afraid of that. So I met him, and I'm like, because he told me I saw him doing some modeling thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start writing the script, and I'm gonna see if he wants to come into acting, and I'm gonna tell him about it. Kid you not. So that's what I'm talking about. Sometime I think the universe, literally that summer, I saw him put a little clip that he was acting in like a slave movie or whatever, right? A student film. I was like, what? Boom. I picked up on that. I started writing. Now I was more focused because I'm like, how is this happening? Come to find out, one day I reach out to him. I say, yo, Moses, I don't know if you're into acting, but I saw you do this. I'm writing the script, and I'm thinking you'd be perfect for the character. He's like, just keep me posted because I'm doing some theater. He invited me. He told me, he was doing this theater, this off-Broadway. I went to see him. I'm like, he embodies it. I'm like, this guy could play my character. So long story short, during cast call, we do the casting. I put it out, but in my mind, I wrote it for him. Like, I wrote that for him in my mind, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people came through. Some were pretty good, some were not so good. But the fear, the subconscious fear that the society have of black men, he represents that. Right. And then he was a phenomenal actor. He cried on cue. Wow. If you see one of the scenes where I didn't tell him that. He did it. Okay, and another scene. You see in the scene where the last scene where they in the store about to fight?
Yeah.
You see when he says, if you shoot me here, I have 3 seconds. That was him. So I gave my actor the leeway. I told him what I wanted in the scene.
Yeah.
That all that anger that he showed, I said, that's what I want. And he went with that. So Maya, Moses, these guys were like, they're very good. So that's why when I write for people like that. And what's my other actor? My other actor, the cop with the long hair that was there, right? That's my third film.
I was gonna bring him up because your film does have a white actor in it, and what's kind of refreshing is he's not the white hero.
Oh no, he couldn't be. He's not gonna be. But Dante, I work with Dante. So I worked with Dante in 2 previous movies. Dante was so professional. I was shooting. He's there. He came up to me and he's like, and this is what I like about acting. He's like, Gunnar, I feel this about this. Can I do that? And I was like, yeah, good. Because they bring something that I did not think of. And in a whole, it makes my character more rooted in the environment, if you understand what I'm saying, and the world that I created or whatever. So one of the things that we see, you see the black officer and him, right, going at it, right? So come to shoot the scene at the end. You see the scene at the end, right, where he's in there, right?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be two actors, the other, but he didn't show up. So that's why I say he didn't show up. He said he had a time issue, but then after he called me can we shoot the scene? But it was too late. But I'm happy. I'm happy for the job he did for me, but he didn't show up. So now, Dante told me, don't worry about it. I could do both characters. So the line that he spits in the ending, those lines were meant to be. Some of the lines were meant to be for the other cop. So he took it and he did it. And then he was a professional. He came. Even when I told him, Dante, can you seize the time? He was like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm going to come and I'm going to do it. So, and also Dante is a theater actor too. So you could also see the theater in him when he's acting. But I don't think people, I see it, but I don't think other people see. But from the beginning, he's a theater actor. Right? He did Shakespeare on Shakespeare at the park a couple of times. And I got to go support him and stuff because I got to go support a lot of these actors. They ask me and I don't go, which I'm going to start doing more and more. But Dante, complete professional. He came, he helped me out in some of the fight scene that he choreographed. And I can't say Dante, Moses, Maya. Even like I told the story, one of the gods, right? So I got to tell you the story. The female that plays Yamaya, right? So my producer, get all the filmmakers listening, get a good producer that believes in your dream and believes in your dream more than you believe. Because if they just doing it for the sake of doing, they could leave you hanging, they could leave you holding the bag and you'll be screwed.
Right.
So I forgot what was I gonna. Damn, sometimes I lose my train of thought. But I was talking about Maya, Moses, and what else? Oh yeah. So the guy that plays Shango. There was a part where we were shooting. He stayed with me. And meanwhile, he didn't even have a speaking part. He stayed with me. He stayed, and he embodied the male character. So back to Yamaya. So I'm driving the lady that called Yamaya. She plays. Her name is Fulani, right? Fulani calls me and it's like, Gunnar, I really want to take the part, but I'm a respectfully decline. And I'm like, why? She goes, well, the part that you gave me, there's no speaking part. And I'm like, and I don't really want to do that. I was like, no. You get in the other part, the part where she's speaking. And then she was like, really? Because your producer called me and told me. I was like, no, this is the part you get in. You get in the speaking role. And that young lady who threw the cat, she came to my audition. She had like a wig on, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is how I told you that sisters get messed up in the cast calling. She came in and she had the wig on. I was like, oh my God, who's this? And I said, because she showed me the picture, she had her natural hair. I was like, is your hair natural under that? She's like, yeah, it is. And I was like, so next time when you come, I'm really going for the natural hair. But even though I didn't get to showcase it in the movie,
right?
But that's why to show you how sometimes sisters like have to like hide their beauty, hide their attributes just to make it into Hollywood. Just not even into Hollywood, to make it into those sometimes those student movies that are not even about nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even her, she came and then she gave me 100%. Like it was awesome. The guy that plays his good side and his bad side. Even that guy, I didn't have a part for him. But what happened when some of my actors drop out, I had to write a scene just for him. And he came through and he killed it.
Right.
Even when I called him, there was a part I didn't shoot everything together. There was a part I had to shoot all the way in the summer. He didn't even have a speaking role. He came at the part, and so he's like, I got it. Even though some of them didn't show up to the premiere, which I don't get why they didn't show up, but I could say without them, Maya, Dante, Moses, Joshua, Leroy, a lot of them, even my homeboy Wilkin, like he had to take the spot of somebody that's just dropped out. So I called him and I was like, yo, you want to help me out? And you know why he thinks that, yo, I know him for 20 years. Boom, bam, I'm there.
Right.
So in acting, my advice to a lot of the directors, the coming up directors, don't be a dictator. Sometimes let your actor bring your character out of the page into life. But if you don't like what they're doing, just always reel them back in. Oh, this is not. But don't be like, yo, this is what I want. Not. Right. Oh no, I want you to do this. I want you to be happy. No, and you can't direct happiness.
Right.
And sometimes when you let them do their thing, if they're good, they could give you something that you didn't even see coming. So my actors were wonderful and everything.
So where will people be able to see your film going forward?
Going forward, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to have another screening. I'm trying to see if I could what's the word? Do a partnership with Brick, the Brooklyn community broadcasting. I'm trying to do one more screening with them. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to upload it to Vimeo, right?
Okay.
But the thing with Vimeo is that because my movie is so long, I got to pay them
for extra time.
Because I got to pay them monthly. If it's monthly, then it's doable where I could, I guess, pay them monthly. But since my movie is big, there's a certain amount of I get gigs you could upload. Right. Amount of space you could upload. Like the free one is like up to 2 gigs. But if my movie, I think might be is way more than that. So I have to pay. And I just want to. So it's gonna be on Vimeo, and then with the help of all you guys, the way because even though directors are very insecure about their art, you understand what I'm saying? Right. Like people tell me, you tell me it's very good. I'm still like, So what I'm gonna do. There's a New York Film Festival. I'm gonna try to enter it there, and then if it gets in, then people could go to that festival and see it. But I'm gonna upload it to Vimeo, and then anybody who wants to see it, they could shout me out or whatever, and I could give them I might make it public and they see it, or I might give them the password to be able to see it. So I can't put it on the DVD. I can't sell it because I have to get the copies for some rights of certain of those songs. So if you start making money off of it, you gotta pay. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
of course. The royalties.
The next thing, the royalties or whatever. Even in the movie, I would want to say that I also integrated Haitian music, African drums. That's all part of Sankofa. You got to include that. And that's why I think that keeps the story fresh versus, I'm going to just put some hip hop over here. It's like every other story. Not to, what's the word? Go off on a tangent. But yeah, so Vimeo is going to be the next one, and I'm going to upload it to Google. Is it Dropbox? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to see it, I'll send it to you, or I could open it to them where they could see it too. So, but the next thing is I want to do, I'm going to try to do, maybe for the summer, do like a community partnership with Brick. See, because that one was in Manhattan. So I'm thinking Brick they have a studio down in Brooklyn. So I'm going to try to meet up with them to see if I could do another one and other people could come see it. And I'm going to also try to team up with my friend. I'm going to try to also talk to Allegra to see if we could do like a triple screening, her movie and my friend McMillan, to see his movie, and I'm going to see if we could do like a triple thing. Like a triple. So, yeah, and stuff like that. A lot of those guys that came, even my cinematographer, Daryl, class act, Chris Mendez. I have my gaffer. Gaffer is the person that puts the lights up and the electricity. G&E and gaffer, Samir, even one of my boys. Kim Buzz. He doesn't like saying his last name, but I learned a lot from him. Very talented young brother. I wish he could get more into the Sankofa stories, but he's very talented. He does a lot of music videos. A lot of, what's his name? Joey, David Moreno. A lot of people helped me. Like when, I'm telling you, a lot of those people of our shade just dropped me. Yo, I'm going to tell you a story. Can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah, go for it.
The first cinematographer I hired was, the guy, first of all, he gets there. He's trying to tell everybody what to do here and there. But in the film business, the cinematographer just shoot. You don't get to tell other people what to do. But that's not the story. So the next day, the call time on the call sheet is 8 a.m., right? So he calls me at 7:30. He tells me, yo, I won't be able to shoot because I have a bad back. What? Oh, I can't make it, but get your AC to do it. AC is an assistant camera person. At the time, one of my favorite people, Danielle. Danielle helped me out so much. She was the AC, but Danielle was not. I don't think Danielle ever shot anything. So she was the AC. She's AC, but I don't think she was ready to shoot. So he's gonna tell me get her to shoot it, and he said I'll be back later on to shoot it. So I was like, okay. I said, don't worry, go to the hospital. You know that my man took my card reader. The card reader is the card reader plus the SD card. He took that home with him that had all my footage.
Wow.
And the card reader that we were using was about to be full. So no, the SD card was about to be full. So we needed the card reader to dump the footage on a hard drive, and he had it. So I had to fire him. So all these people that you saw, and this is what I was telling you, the young directors come. You have to have a crew. They weren't my crew per se, but I helped them in their stuff, and I was friendly and I respected it, and they helped me out because of Daryl. Daryl knows other people, and other people came to help me because of Daryl. They didn't come because of me per se, but me and Daryl are cool, so Daryl could pull his own people to come help me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even Chris Mendez helped me a lot. Danielle, Samir, my sound guy, Elliot, a lot. It takes a team. Even though I would say that a lot of the people, some of the people did not believe in my dream the way I wanted them to.
Yeah.
But they helped me out a lot. So that's why I tell you, you gotta find people who believe in your dreams like you believe in your dreams. So because they'll go to war for you. Because you know what? When they go to war for you, when you make it, we all make it. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So before we wrap this episode of the podcast up, I want to ask you, what project or projects do you have in the pipeline? Like, what are you looking for? What are you going to do in the near future?
Okay. Yes, right now, I'm doing my MFA program, and I'm planning to write a novel, right?
Okay.
A novel, which is a novel. I'm 2 years. Hopefully, I could do the novel as I get my MFA.
Okay.
The next one I want to work is a movie called. I'm gonna say, but you're gonna know by the name. You know what a susu is?
Yeah, of course.
So a susu. So the movie is about a susu that gets robbed.
Okay. In the Bahamas, we call it an asu. Some people call it, I think Africans call it a hand or something like that. So, yeah. It's the same thing, yeah.
So that's my next project. And my next project it's about a susu. Like, let's say it's about to be your hand.
Yeah.
And when it's about to be your hand, the susu gets robbed. But the susu is for like $50,000. But you need that $50,000. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but I'm going to give you a similar story. You need the $50,000 to save your life.
Okay.
And the only person that could save your life is the magic man, like the person who could connect with the ancestors. And voodoo, they call that the Uga. I don't know, like the person who's capable of reaching to your ancestor and ask for the cure for you.
Right.
But since we live in America, it's all a capitalist system. He only wants to do it if you pay him that $50,000.
Right. Okay.
So you can't. So you start a susu, which everybody does in the. Like you start a susu, and the susu gets robbed.
Right. Okay.
So now what? So what are you gonna do?
Okay.
What's next?
Either
you die, or you gotta go get that. Or you gotta go get that $50,000 from the people who robbed the susu.
Okay.
So in itself, this is how I show you my stories are all Sankofa. Like. It could have been I'm going to rob a bank to get this. No. So that's the next project online. That's another short film, but I have a film. I'm going to let you read that screenplay one day, But I have a feature, and it's called 11226, right? And in 11226, it's about a young lady and a young lady who's trying to make a student film, right?
Okay.
About make a student film to win a festival. So and it incorporates the Haitian culture, the Jamaican culture, the Trinidadian culture, the Bahamian, the whole. Because 11226 is really is like a Caribbean area, right? Can we say 11226? So that's the next project. I already wrote the
your treatment.
No. I wrote the screenplay. It's out. It's like a feature.
Okay.
So I'm working with Vidya Shelley Worrell,
yes.
She's the producer or the creator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the entrepreneur of Caribbean. Her husband is his name is Jean-Luc. He's from the French Caribbean. He's from
Martinique, I think.
Guadeloupe. Be careful. They really get tight. They're like, nah, man, I'm from Guadeloupe.
Okay.
So him, I'm working with him to create that. That movie I'm gonna let you one day. I'm gonna send you, if you have time, even during this, I'll send you the script. You read it. So that'll be good to have your feedback and everything. So that's in the pipeline. I don't know which one is gonna come first. So probably the susu is gonna come first because I'm gonna try to use my student loan again, even though I might be deep in student loan to shoot that. So that's the projects online right now.
Well, I actually have a short story idea I want to run past you in the future. It's actually about a black nationalist podcaster, believe it or not. And I think you'd like it. When I get it all written out, I'll send that to you too. I want you to check it.
Nah, and this is the other thing. If I'm down, just send it to me. We write on it, we work on it. And this is what I think. Screenwriting, there's a way to write screenwriting, but deep down, I think all of us, you're a freaking musician, so you're a storyteller on your own right. So whatever I could do to help, and I'm willing to, because I love stories, especially even about what you just said, a black revolutionary podcaster. Yeah. Come on,
yeah,
that's fresh. That's the first idea on its own. So keep doing what you're doing with this podcast, and we need to talk about that. Not even I know you did a podcast on the Haitian Revolution. I need a rebuttal on that real quick. So, but I'm happy about being on here. I appreciate, because we spoke about that for a while, and I'm happy that you're doing your thing. And we need more people like you who speaks about that business, art, education, entrepreneurship, and all of that.
Yeah,
so
I appreciate the kind words, man. So,
and we've been doing this since when? What was that group we was doing when we was at Booking Class? What was that?
Uhuru Sasa. Yeah, we've been...
Yeah. You've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, we were organizing for... That was like 20 years... That was almost 20 years ago. We were organizing for...
Yes!
So, yeah, it's you know, this... You talked about what led you to write your film, being all of the injustices that was going on with unarmed black men being killed in the streets and stuff by these police officers. This podcast was born out of the Trayvon Martins, the Mike Browns, Sandra Bland, you know, all those deaths. Yeah. You know, this podcast came out of that. And you were one of the first people I think I spoke to about even starting this podcast. So,
yeah, and this is the thing I say, all of our talents, all of our skills needs to be bringing, enlightening our people, reaching for Sankofa.
Yes.
If you're not doing that, I don't want to hear it.
Absolutely.
And people could say, like, you could be the best lyricist of all time. For example, let's use Kanye West.
Oh.
Kanye West used to be talented, but this is the thing. I don't care how talented you are. If you're not bringing enlightenment to our struggle and our changing our image perception and reaching back to Sankofa, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So,
and Kanye is going full Kanye now.
Oh, he's done.
Yeah,
he's done. But you know what? He's gonna still find people who like, let's bring him back. And that's the problem with black people. We're quick to forget. He's gonna come and apologize, and we're gonna be like, yeah, Kanye. No. Once a coon, always a coon.
Forget apologizing. He's gonna drop some hot song with a hot beat, and that's it. You know, we're back on his bandwagon again. So.
No, and this is what I'm saying. Like, it's like even when you're writing, even like like slam poetry, right? You remember the poetry in my movie at the end?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
I remember.
It's called Karma. By this young lady, Christy. Oh my, when I hear that poetry, when I heard her say that, like in the Caribbean when they tell you walk on somewhere and you feel something and your skin, the hair on your skin rise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm talking about. She's super talented, but she's using her talent to express the struggle, or even to bring love between black men and black women, or to bring peace. You can't be talented and you spew and talk about I'm having sex. I have 20 cups. What does that do for us as a people?
Yeah.
So that's how I am with it.
Thank you for appearing on the show. For those of you listening, stay tuned for future updates about where and when you can see this film, The Raging Elephant. Gunnar, thanks again for being on the show.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
You said something about funding your podcasting. Everybody who should be listening should be funding and going in and supporting the Bitter Podcast Medicine. I know I probably said it wrong, but don't forgive me. I'm Haitian.
The Bitter Medicine Podcast.
Yeah. Oh, see, I said the Bitter Podcast. Because what you're doing is important.
Yeah.
What you're doing is important. We have to. Then, if you fail, it's because of us. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I get it.
We need to support that because the media is not giving us any fair shake.
Right.
So again, you getting our image. You taking our image back, and that's what I want to do with my own film. The people got to fund me. If I fail, I don't want to put it on. It's like, for example, your boy Dr. Umar, right? Did you hear what he said just now? He said the people got to send him to law school. Did you hear that part?
I saw that bullshit the other day. Yeah, I saw that.
I was amazed.
Yeah, it takes balls. It takes balls to do that shit. Trust me.
But the thing is, people like, even though Dr. Umar put a lot of good message, knowledge out, but what have you done with that money? And that's people like that now. When I go ask for money and you ask for money, people are going to be like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's messing it up for everyone.
But I know you, we know each other, we got to support each other. And that, if you're about putting positive image of black men, black women, Caribbean black people, African black people from the diaspora all over the world, we got to do that. Because we cannot rely on, why would they give you the money to put beautiful images out of? Because you know what? There's big business in the insecurity of black people.
Yeah, of course.
So thank you a lot, man. I appreciate this. I appreciate this. I don't know how. Thanks for coming, you and Big. Yo, I really appreciate that. I was like, yo, this is the only thing I'm going to say. When I was up there, when I saw everybody showed and all these people came to see it, I was like, I want to have this feeling again. I was going to tell you, like, I was going to be like, I'm just going to write. But this feeling that I got with people, like, being like, yo, I really like the movie, the discussion. And I think I really enjoyed the discussion after with everybody more than I enjoyed watching the movie. Yo,
yeah.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
the
discussion was good.
That feeling of,
yeah,
that feeling of black people supporting me. Even the older people came. That young lady, Zeneda. Zeneda is the director of the place where we were. She was wonderful. And yo, I'm saying Adeline, Medea, all these people, they helped me out, man.
Yeah.
So we gotta support each other, support our stories and everything.
And that's the final word, man. Support our stories, people. Again, thanks to my special guest, Gunnar. Please stay tuned for more to come from him. And until next time, this has been the Bitter Medicine Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.